Officially. Hey, Kenzie.
Hello.
So stoked to have you here.
Excited
Uh,
to be here.
yeah, you are. I've loved watching your country instructor journey. And I think, I know that you've got so much awesome insight from all the different perspectives that you have, that I know the kids students will be able to really benefit. So thank you for
Yay. Of course. Thank you for having me. It's a
your
blessing.
time. Of course. Okay, so I love starting off these calls just reminding everyone of why the heck we do them. So, our purpose of these coaching conversations is to support the Kickstart Instructor Training Program students, to give them advice and tips and best practices from different types of industry professionals, and all in all, to really contribute positive and quality dance instruction to the dance community. So, of all people, I think Kenzie is a great guest to have here. You've been a someone new to the community, someone thriving in the community, someone teaching in the community, and now, I mean, all the things, all-star world champions. So let us know, Kenzie, for those of us who somehow maybe have been living under a rock for the last few years, who is Kenzie Keister and how did you get here in dance?
So hello again. I'm so happy to be here. I'm Kenzie Keister. I have been dancing forever. So I started as a solo dancer. I call it my like unknown training for the life I have now. But I did tap jazz ballet, then competed with my studio for 10 years. So having that competition background as well. Went to a country dance hall when I was 18 because I love country music and I wanted to still dance somehow. That led me to meeting a bunch of people and traveling Southern California. And that led me to then finding country swing and knowing that there's conventions and stuff so I can get back in like old roots and start competing again. And so I ended up competing. And one competition led to another, led to getting asked to instruct. And I was like, whoa, wait, this is my life now. And so I started instructing a few months after I started competing. Finding the country competitions also opened my eyes to the dance style West Coast swing. Um, I started West Coast Swing Journey in 2022 and now currently an all-star in the division. I have a I am the US Open champion from 2023 in the Rising Star category and currently competing in Showcase with my dance partner and life partner, Jaden Pfeiffer. And we've been this past year, placed sixth in the division, Showcase division, professional division. And we're planning on doing Showcase again this year, while still maintaining going out to my country bars and my country conventions, teaching at amazing Kickstart conventions, and being able to attend as many as I can while always continuing to grow as a dancer and performer and artist.
Wow, that was like in a nutshell, the most amazing summary of your life and dance experience.
I try my best.
One of my favorite things about you, and I think is super important to like keep in mind for all of us who are instructors, is I love how I do see you in the bar. Somehow I always seen you in the bar like the one or two times I'm ever there.
Perfect timing.
Yeah, hi, but yeah, like staying connected to your community in a super casual way is something that I love about what you do.
Mhm.
So
I- it's getting to go out, especially when I like travel to the new cities, whether it be for West Coast swing or country swing or in the country community. That's probably one of like my favorite parts is going out to like the local bar and seeing like their like true community, and getting to like be like fully invested onto what uh their community is like. And that's like the perfect place to go. And I get to talk to everyone. Everyone's kind of super casual. Some people know me, some people don't, which is also super awesome. Get to kind of be that like I'm not Kenzie Keister there. I'm just another like dance goer there. So it's really, really awesome opportunity. And I will continue doing it for as long as I can do it.
yeah, absolutely. It is
Do you mind
neat.
if I say something, Adia?
Yeah, you here, do me a favor though, and you totally can. But
Mhm.
if you guys have a comment, just raise the hand, like do the
Okay,
reacting,
cool.
and then we'll call on you. But yeah, go ahead.
No, I just feel like it's really important because especially now in like country swing, I see it a lot. But like the first couple of conventions I did, like I didn't really see people like go out to the bars and social dancing. And I feel like being in that, like it was less nerve-wracking for me, like, say, at the Edge, like, Nicole and T-Bolt, like, I was like, I did not want to dance with them at all, I was so scared, like, I'm not at their level, and I wasn't gonna see like, dance with them, and I felt that same way with Kenzie at some point, and then, literally, Nicole came in the steel circle and stole me, and I got to dance with her, and it opened an opportunity of her coming up and asking me a dance later and getting a video with her. So it's like when you're in that social setting, you're not as worked up of, oh, they're a world champion. Oh, I'm not good enough to dance with them. It's just a social dance at the end of the day.
Yeah, totally. Thank you for sharing that, Emily. Yeah, it really does. It really does make a difference. And here's the thing, whether you think you're well known or popular or recognizable or not, like if you're in the leadership position at all, like you are recognizable. You know, people will be intimidated, even if you walk around with a cute little stuffed animal and the sweetest smile. People will still be intimidated because you're the leader, you're the instructor. So yeah, thank you for sharing that. Did you have anything to add to that, Kenzie?
No, I completely agree. I mean, I'm even like myself, I still have a fear of asking people to dance. So like no matter what's like you're beginner or advanced or like I have this like weird fear of still asking people to dance. So I'm like sitting in the bar, I'm like, please, someone come and ask me to dance. And now it's like a thing in any class I teach, like at the end of it, that's like one of the first things I say is like, hey, after this class, like please come ask me to social dance because I know I have that feeling like I get intimidated, don't care what level you are, but I'm so scared to ask you to dance. So like I completely get it. It's just normal human feeling. So having that normal human feeling, like being able to let them know, like, please, I want to dance with as many people as possible. Like I love dancing. I just want to dance. Let's just dance and have a good time.
Yes, love that. Yeah, Emily says exactly. You're always a beginner to someone else, even if you're a world champion. Yep.
Yep,
Yep.
exactly.
Exactly. Okay, cool. So, I was curious, when it does come to like traveling or going out to, when you're at events and you have intentions to connect with a community and you also have responsibilities with an event, how do you balance that? So, like, how do you take care of yourself and also make sure you're connecting with the community?
Yeah. So thankfully, I would say like my childhood really prepared me for like continuous like going with like being in the dance studio and like going to school, going to dance, coming home, doing homework. So I had to be up like for the extension of the day, and it kind of got me in that like body, like my body prepared for moments like this. Doing the whole day conventions because I experienced the whole day conventions like as when I was younger. Um, so once I got to like the professional level and or like teaching instructor level, the biggest thing always is like, yes, taking care of my body. So making sure I'm hydrated, I'm eating enough. And like first comes first serve as in like making sure I'm healthy. So doing what I can to like be healthy as a person so I continue to since this is a sport like this has so much movement and so much activity going on. I want to make sure I first comes first serves that I'm healthy and doing what I can. Um, and then on top of it, I I would say the giving my the little breaks do help, but they're not as important to me as like this is a I always think of like a weekend as this weekend is never going to be the same as the next weekend. Um every convention I go to, whether it be the same convention 1 year or the year after, like I'll never get to have this experience again. So I'm gonna live that experience as much as I can. And if that means like being up at 6 a.m. in the morning to like go into bed at 2 o'clock in the morning, like I'll do it. Um, as long as I can like live that experience, and when I feel as though like I've felt that experience and at least like dance with as many people as possible, I can see like the room starting to die out. Like I that's when I like, okay, we can go to bed now and have still a decent amount of sleep because I have to take care of myself. And that's where the healthy part comes in. So making sure you get the correct amount of sleep for that weekend. And or I like to like prepare a day before by giving myself like 12 hours of sleep because that's my girl math, like sleep 12 hours the day before and then you have extra 12 hours to save for the weekend. So I sleep more like the day before I go out in the convention, really that like pre-day, like getting yourself prepared for those weekends. But yeah, I have the energy. I can do it, so I'm gonna do it. I just like for the simplest answer, I guess I just do as much as I can, and while just making sure I stay healthy while I do it.
Yeah, that's great. It honestly, I think it can take people by surprise sometimes. And whether you're an instructor at an event or you're just an attendee, like both, like the rules kind of apply to both, or I don't know if that's a rule, but the idea definitely applies to both. I know for me, I need like on a typical day, anyone else need 8 to 10 hours of sleep. Like that's where I operate. So whereas once upon a time, I could definitely do like the 3 a.m. When I was in my 30s. 30s, it definitely feels different. So I'm having to but what I do is I make like you said, you dance with as many people as you can. I kind of set a number. I'm like, all right, I'm not going anywhere until I've danced with 10 people or 5 beginners and then 5 people who've asked or whatever it is. Like I make sure that I'm hitting my own quotas so that I don't get lost. To get lost in like not spending any social time. It does happen sometimes as an event director, but that's
Yeah, 100%. And what I've figured out, like what has also helped me a lot is the in between slots of like judging. That's where I find my perfect social dance moment because I'm there, I'm ready. So like I'm always out on the floor, the in between. So like the social late night, like I can take that extra hour to go to bed earlier because I spent majority of the time during those mixed social hours in between competitions, like on the floor instead of like out socializing or like I'm there for those competitions as well. So I can watch the competitions, support the competitions, and also get the opportunity to social dance with those who are watching and or wanting to like have a prep dance. So that's been my big one too, is like the in-betweens of competitions. Um, Making sure I let them know I'm gonna set my tablet down. I'm just gonna go dance for a little bit right before I go dance. But I'm right here, I'm just dancing. But yeah, in between social, that in between time is so important as well. So like utilize the in between time as much as you can.
love that. And that's a great strategy. That's really
Yeah.
good. Um, it's fun to know that as a director, like, oh, that's what she's doing. Got it. So what kind of advice would you have for instructors who are looking to connect more like with their students? Do you have anything that kind of comes to mind that would
Yeah, yeah. And for like a lot of specific every time I like I guess would say like my group of students, but everyone to me is like any class I teach, that they're all great students. But anytime I like do get that one-on-one like individual time, I have this little saying I say to like everyone that has like taken the time to invest in me and like privately or within a private lesson or like a group setting. I always tell them like, since you invest in me, I want to be able to invest in you, whatever, however you see me on your dance journey, whether it be a mentor, a coach, or a best friend, like I'm here for you. So to kind of open that door, as in like, I'm not just here to like teach you for 45 minutes and then like we never get to talk anymore. Like I'm here as in like whatever you need me. I also tell them like I'll give them a 2 to 5 business day reply session just because I can get a hold I can be really hard to get a hold of sometimes. So like I have a 2 to 5 business day replying era, and but once I reply, like I'm pretty consistently replying. But yeah, that's like the biggest saying I say to anyone that's like ever invested in me. I want to be able to invest back. So however they like need me, I'm here for you as a coach, a mentor, a best friend. Not just the 45 minutes you got my information and I'll never like speak to you again. I want to be able to get to know you and I want to be able to continue growing, whether it be coach, mentor, best friend, whatever. You never know what that person needs at that time. And I want to be able to be there for those people and my students. So that's how I really reach out to like when it comes to personal students and in private lessons. And then outside of private lessons, I would say like the biggest thing is being involved with like the local dance communities I am attended. I'm in Arizona and California a lot. So when I'm in Arizona and California and I like am home, I really prioritize going out to the country bars so I can connect to them on like more of a social level. They don't see me just as like, oh, you're the instructor. I don't know if I can talk to you. Like I want them to know like I'm still in the end of the day another country dancer, just another dancer that wants to dance with you. So I would say those two things are the biggest things that help me connect to like my students.
Yes, such great information and such great advice. I love the setting that expectation of the 2 to 5 days, because we all have like the best of intentions, but and also I think we all know that everyone's busy, but it can feel personal when someone doesn't get back to you. So just setting the precedence automatically, like I'm doing my best here, and I one of my favorite things to say is, and if you don't hear from me by this time, like by like whatever time I say, then feel free to nudge me. Like it won't bother me. Sometimes I do need a nudge because the message got way down. So, but communicating that up front as much as you can is, I think, is great. And then I love the advice also about letting people know that you're there for them. I think even in like a big class, so for those of you instructors who are not teaching private lessons, this can still be really great in a big class because first of all, rarely are you going to get 100 people suddenly like in your DMs wanting you to be their best friend. But you never know when like just that invitation gives people this sense of belonging and acceptance. And, I bet you probably have people tell you at some point, Kenzie, like, thanks for saying that. Like, thank you for saying that. I felt whatever it was. But it's like they may never even take you up on it, but just the offer makes you more personable.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. I was curious if you thought of anything, if you could think of something to share that like has shifted in your approach to teaching or approach to being an instructor from over the last couple of years. So from when you started to now.
Well, the biggest thing I was actually thinking about this in the car. I was like, what has been my biggest like what have I done differently to help grow as an instructor once I started instructing? And I mean, you've been there since the beginning. When I first started, I was a little rough. And it's just I would say the biggest reason was honestly, I have so much of, because of my dance background, a lot of stuff I just did because I knew how to do it. And I didn't know necessarily how to explain what I was doing because also I didn't know what I was doing because it was just in my body. It was so like second nature. I was like, honestly, I know what I'm doing, but like I don't know how to explain it because it's like I'm not thinking about what I'm doing. I'm just doing it. That's how I've been taught. Like it's been so ingrained over the 15 years of prior like dance experience that like I didn't know how to articulate it because I was taught it like 15 years ago slash like it's just so in my body. So one of the biggest things that helped me like develop as an instructor was really taking the time out of it to like study like my body mechanics. The biggest thing was like closing my eyes and figuring out like which muscles are moving because I tell this to my students, once you close your eyes, you take away a sense of seeing and you heighten sense of feeling, so you're taking away a natural sense. So when I close my eyes, I can feel everything I'm doing and feel what's engaged and not just see and like hope I can see it. You can actually like feel what's going on in your body. So taking the time to feel like when I'm running through my basics and taking that practice time outside of like when I'm dancing with someone to actually study what my body is doing. So because a lot of the times when in these classes they want to know exactly what you're doing and how to do it. So therefore I need to know and feel like what my body is naturally. Everyone's going to also have like different bodies, and I mentioned that too, like everyone's going to move differently, so you're not going to it won't be always exact because we're all built differently. We're all different humans. We all have different arm lengths. We all have different like leg lengths. We're all different humans in like the most beautiful way. So being able to like study and like articulate as much as I can of like exactly what my body was doing helped me become a better teacher, as well as like I take a lot of I am always to always become a better teacher, you always have to be a student first. So consistently like knowing that I'm never done finished learning, because I can't grow as an instructor if I'm not allowing myself to learn anymore. So when I'm in when I'm teaching with a new person, that is one of the biggest times like I have learned is like hearing what they have to say and how they articulate it. Taking group classes at like conventions. Um, I went out the other night and did a hip hop class and figuring out how to move like that way again. Always being a student, so as well as continuously taking that journey to help me grow better as an instructor. But I would say, yeah, definitely those two things, like consistently growing, like taking classes, never stop learning. Like once you stop learning, that's when like you will stop growing as not just an instructor, but also as a dancer. So you're always a student. As well as like taking time to study my own mechanics so I can articulate, especially when people are like, how do you do this move? I need to know exactly how I do this move. I can't just see it and feel it. The studying of my body and my body movement outside of like the teaching class time has been like such a beneficial experience, as well as like this is probably the more time you have, the better. So like the more opportunities you have, like whether it be a small opportunity or a big opportunity, or like going and teaching your parents how to dance, like, hey, can I teach you this to see if it works? So any opportunity, like the more you do it, the more comfortable you'll get, the more growth you'll become. Get that sentence of like the more you do, the more knowledge and more comfortable and yeah, you become. So those three things I would say had been what had pivoted my journey once I started becoming an instructor, once I really honed into those things.
Wow, that's awesome. Yeah, and you had mentioned it earlier about being a having danced your whole life. And Emily, I saw your thing. We'll get to your question right now. Um, I and I One of the reasons, so it was DNA 2022, I think, was your first ever teaching gig at a
It
convention.
was. Yeah, it was. I remember that phone call. It was so good.
And, one of the things that I knew about you was that you had the dance technique, and wanting to incorporate more technique into the conventions so that people could learn, was a big deal. And it's totally okay that it took you a little bit of time to figure out how to articulate, but it's like you really had a solid foundation of technique. And it was about taking that step back and seeing, okay, what am I doing? What is my body doing? Where is my weight? Where is my center of gravity? Like, how can I communicate this? So I love that advice. Whether you're a dancer who's been dancing since you were 3, or you're new to it, but you're good at it, or you're just kind of getting it, like thinking about what causes struggle, what caused you to struggle, or what makes this so easy, and being able to articulate that for other people, I think is awesome.
Yeah.
Emily, go ahead and you can mute yourself. We'd love to hear your question.
Hey, so I'm just having like a difficult time right now because going over from country swing to West Coast, we literally like I only have 2 instructors, which is pretty much my dance mom and dad, Scott and Jasmine. And that's all I really have. Whereas in West Coast, I have Gary, and that's about it. So I'm just kind of feeling like I'm plateauing because I don't have people to practice with. Like, whenever I'm going to these conventions, I'm making progress in this and that. And then I come back home and I don't have a partner to apply and practice all these things that learn in these workshops and classes. And I know moving's down the road, but I don't know really what to do. I mean, there's Stacy and Hugo, but I can only make that like 3-hour drive every so
Yeah.
often.
Yeah. Thank you for asking that question, Emily. I love this question just because a lot of people don't know where I live. So I live in Simi Valley, California. That's where I reside. And a fun fact about Simi Valley right now, is that I'm probably one of the farthest Southern California dancers as of now. Or when I was growing up in the scene, and like SoCal, Simi Valley is like Ventura County, so it's like not Northern California, but it's Southern California, so it's pretty decently far. So on like my journey as well, trying to figure out how I could evolve and grow as a dancer was a struggle, because I didn't think I had a partner located in me. Even Juan's my partner, and he moved to Arizona when we became partners. So I was like, how can we practice if you're in Arizona and I'm in California? So I would say like the one of my I have a few sayings, I have a few mottos I like to live by. Is always to be able to grow yourself like as a dancer and in your own movement, is to be able to also learn how to dance by yourself and learn how to figure out, as I was before, like understand your movement. So like solo drills, solo dancing, shadow dancing, as in like without a partner. There's some connection technique drills where you can take a tension band and tie it to a doorknob, like an exercise band, and tie it to a doorknob where you feel the loop, so you can practice your connection. So you can practice having connection while not having a partner, because you're having resistance, and that's where that connection and swing comes from for West Coast swing and country swing. We connect a lot in extension and resistance. So having that resistant band and connecting back for connection wise, so you have a partner, but you don't have a partner, it's your door. But so being able to practice like your own movement as well. So a bunch of solo drills, finding the solo drills. There's a with also um COVID was, an unfortunate thing, but also gained a like awesome thing, which was this virtual growth and virtual lessons. I know throughout like West Coast Swing, there is a lot of like professionals like Thibaut Nicole, Robert Royston, Sean and Alyssa. There's so many of your champions that you see that also offer virtual like lessons. And then in country swing too, you have Adia, you have Juan who's taking out like starting a virtual lesson thing. You have Gabe, you have it Elise just reached one as well. There's so many like country people that are starting to release virtual lessons as well. So whether it be, you can find the word, I'm trying to find the word. You can find the content. So the content of movement, so like the steps and patterns, like new pattern work, you can find that really well through those online platforms. And then when being able to apply them with the connection band and resistant band, so having a partner, as well as just practicing them solo, because we can always grow like on foot articulation and like personal body movement. So the biggest thing I would say is like solo drills at home mean so much more to our dancing than we even know. For example, I just did a practice weekend, a training weekend with Brandy Guild, and we spent the first hour and a half doing a box step, slash like an hour doing a box step and articulating through a box step. So like we have a bunch of partners, and like there's a bunch of all stars in the room. We had the ability to connect to them, but we spent that first like half of the lesson just working on our own movement and doing it in a box step. So being able to do it by yourself. So once you get to a partner, you feel even more like more ready, and like you feel good. So I would say solo drills are the biggest thing when you don't have access to a partner. And then on top of it, when you do go to conventions, dancing with as many people as possible.
Awesome. My mute was just not working for a second. Yeah, that's really great advice, Kenzie. And I think of all people, y'all, like Kenzie, you grew up doing solo dancing. And like, so it really can speak to how solo work can really help you in your partner work. And I love the door as your partner. It's definitely true, but it could definitely be frustrating. I think to this day, Simi Valley, LA area, like doesn't have a ton of instructors even in that area. So it's like a constant need. And so I love that you mentioned the virtual lessons and the solo. I remember I used to, when I would go to a lot of conventions as a student, I like wouldn't leave the class without some sort of drill. Like, you know, that one thing that you said, what's like something I could do at home to work on it? And it's like, I'm just looking for that one nugget, you know, and you go to enough classes, now you got 5 nuggets that you can go home and kind of work on that. And then take your coach and let them watch you do it and kind of help perfect or help see, you know, where you can grow in that. So awesome advice. Thank you for asking that, Emily.
Yeah, thank you.
So kind of on a business level, because most of the students in this program are also building some level of business. What are some of the challenges that you have faced and how have you overcome them?
So I would say on a business level, my in being completely like open, when it comes to social media, do I do get lazy. I get so lazy. And the consistency and like the need and the push and the drive for social media nowadays is so like important, and the algorithm is all over the place, in the best way possible. So like that, being able to like stay persistent on that has been a growth process for me and for my business. And the best way like I've overcome it is knowing that like I work better on a schedule. So like for a day, I have to like, my phone is the calendar app in my phone has so many different like color coded things to plan out like my whole day. At this time I'm doing this, at that time I'm doing this, like being able to schedule out my day. Um Maybe not a full week in advance, but at least like the next day when I'm going to bed and having your TikTok time or your Instagram time, taking that time to be like, okay, what am I doing tomorrow? Where can I schedule out some social media time? And typically like a good social media time already, if you have the availability, will be like a 12 to 3 slash like even better if you can start at 11 so you can post something at 12 and work on your next day after that at like 1 and 2, so you can get like all nice and done. I would say that has been like the greatest successors during like that time. So that has been like one of, I would say, the biggest struggles is like fighting myself to not be lazy. Just because I do, since it's such like a movement based thing I do and I'm consistently doing it, that like being able to like sit down and watch TV at my house is really nice. And that's being just completely like total truth and honesty. So I would say that has been like being able to schedule my days. So not only for like social media, but like being able to respond to emails or send out emails or work on specific things for my business, to be able to benefit my business, is something that has been like helpful for like the person for me. Has been scheduling out at that during that TikTok time. What am I doing tomorrow? When can I work on my business and focus on my business? And then at night I can have my TikTok time or my like TV time to give that, you know, yourself some love in the end of the day. And that's been one of my biggest struggles. And then on top of it, I didn't ever I knew I wanted to be in business, but and like I got a business degree, but I wish I like took that a little bit more. I did it during COVID, so I didn't like focus as much as I should have. And it's I only got an AS. Uh, Taking that a little bit more into account because there are still some business things like LLCs and like the little things that I'm still like figuring out. So growing more knowledge in that has been like a struggle but a benefit. Just trying to find like the best resources for that. Thankfully, I do have like parents that own companies, and they've been really, really helpful. Or like local people in my dance community. I've had like phone calls with Gabe. I've had phone calls with you. Like so many different people to figure out how to just do the correct thing as a business, because I didn't know I was gonna do it. I wanted to, but I didn't know I was gonna go into business. So that journey and that like that all together has been, would say, like a struggle. And the last thing is like a great thing, is that in the country community we are growing so much. We have so much growth happening, and I absolutely love seeing that. And everybody is wanting to grow as an instructor and become an instructor. And that with growth also becomes like, as instructor in the community, okay, what can I do to like still maintain, like get the gigs as well, like being able to support up and coming, and like I want them to continue, and like I don't want that to change at all. Keep on growing. I love this country community and that it's growing and more instructors are wanting to teach. But then also as like a business, being like, what can I do to still stand out and still maintain like my brand, so I can still get those moments, because it is my full-time job. And so still being able to figuring out that niche as well. And that also goes all the way back to make sure and maintain all my social media, not being lazy. So I mean, that's all like connects in the end of the day. I would say those are like the three biggest things, as a business person and like growing in business, that I've been struggling on and still struggling on to this day. There's still so much I need to learn. I still consider myself young-ish, even though I'm almost 25. That's still young, but like I started at 22, so being there at 22, I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. So giving myself grace at the end of the day is all this too. Like, you're still learning, you'll still continue to learn. Always a student, you'll always be better.
Yeah, definitely for sharing that. Yeah, it's we all have little areas that are a little more challenging, and social media is challenging. One thing I love about the way you do show up in social media is really just kind of authentically you. Like I mean, I remember watching your literal TikTok go from like 12,000 to 105 in like 2.5 weeks. But you're just doing like you're just being yourself. And so for anyone who's listening and thinking, I'm not doing any of that, like literally just kind of doing you. And that may have been an exaggeration. I'm sure it took a little bit more time, but it was, I remember watching you went real quick, but it's like your videos of you smiling and dancing and enjoying yourself in a dance, not necessarily performing for a camera, just like enjoying yourself on the dance floor. So you don't really have to do anything crazy to get on social media. And the cool thing is there's lots of people who are going to connect with the way Kenzie smiles and dances and looks at the camera and connects with the partner. And they're also going to connect with you in the ways that you're unique. So for everyone who watches this call, like you have things about you that people want to connect with and they want to see. It's not about a skill level. It's not about a certain look. It's about you just being authentically you. And that gains an audience.
I couldn't agree more. One of like the biggest things I've social media wise, like I've realized and like grown in as well. And like I've been very like any video I get, it's a postable video. And the end of it, like one of the everyone has their like little self-critic inside of them that's like, oh, this isn't good enough. I don't look like so and so, or like I need to look like this to be able to show people online, or like what if someone sees it and then like they see that I did bad on this video, so like don't ever, this is like another thing that I learned, like don't think that a judge is going to see something on the video and then put it in a competition. Like that they're judges in competitions, they're only judging you in that moment and in that second. So whatever you post on social media is not going to go into like how you compete in a competition. If anything, it's going to show your face, like you're going to be recognizable. So I being able to like take away and like not listen to my self-critic and be like, yeah, there wasn't like, we missed a hand, or there wasn't perfect. Even skiing like my US Open routine, like Jade and I at the end of our routine like missed a hand, but I wasn't going to cut that out, because that's what makes my dance like authentically me, and not just that, like it was part of the dance, it was part of that moment. And if I take away that moment, then I'm only posting for the aspect of like, look at all the cool stuff I can do, instead of like, yes, I mess up. That's what dance is. Like, that's what this dance is you're improving. Like, there's, in the end of the day, like, it is fully mostly improvisation unless you're doing routine. And like line dancing, and even line dancing, we have those like improv moments where we just kind of like do something and maybe not go right, but having that improv like sense of, either you can't ever do something wrong if it's improv. There is no like, there's no like, you're doing it wrong because it's improv. So, and yes, it might be an obvious mishand, or yes, there might be like, it might have not been perfect, but it was still a moment that I enjoyed. So I'm going to put it on social media. It was still like a place that I visited and had this dance with someone, so I'm going to put it on social media. I'm just going to share exactly like my journey, and that journey does come, your journey does come with like growth. And so being able to show that growth and fully just like put everything on social media, any video you have, whether you like it or don't, like, of course, mostly if you like it, go ahead. But like, it's great. Yeah, it's just, don't be afraid. Don't listen to
Yeah.
your inner critic. I bet you look great in the end of the day. Like, you enjoyed that moment. Don't worry about what other people think. That's the last thing you need to worry about. Like, just continue growing yourself, and that is a route to showing like your growth is like through social media too. So
Yeah, great advice. And Jazzy, saw you have a question. I'll have you unmute in just a second. I just wanted to touch on, Kenzie, what you said about being familiar. So if nothing else, you showing up on social media brings familiarity. And then when people are looking for an instructor, or they're looking for a choreographer, they're looking for someone to do, a party or whatever, they're like, oh, I recognize that person. I've seen that person. I've seen you in a couple, groups. So posting your own stuff and then engaging in other people's things can also bring a little bit more familiarity. So, but yeah, I love that. It's sharing your journey as is, the way it is. And no matter what, someone's going to be inspired, like someone. And you never know how far that one little bit of inspiration might go. Jazzy, go ahead, and if you want to, unmute yourself and ask that question that you had.
This goes right off of what you just said, which is, experiences really carry you. But I experienced reaching out to a venue, and I was gonna ask you personally, Adia, but then we had this meeting. But I ran into a venue that had a bad experience like 4 years ago. I remember this. It was the first date night I'd ever gone on. But I was at an event that was being hosted back at home, and I left very sassy. I was like, I have a date. I don't want to be here anymore. This is a bad experience for people attending to this event. But I reached out to the vendors that they have there, and the owner of the bar, and they said, oh, well, we don't want to do that ever again. And I had to fight for this conversation to even like continue to take place. And I had to say, I promise you, the people that I'm bringing in for this event we're all very professional. We don't allow drinks on the floor. We don't do X, Y, and Z. I have everything planned to a T because I've been to so many events in the past year. I promise you. And I still don't know how to like tell them it's okay, you can trust me. So maybe having y'all's input, especially you, Kenzie, because I see you everywhere, just like I see Adia everywhere. Like, how do I like turn their thought process around without going, I'm completely different from the other people. I promise I won't make mistakes, because I know I'm gonna make a mistake, or they're gonna see me as this small individual childlike that, oh, they're gonna need this, they're gonna need that. Because there's so much discourse here in a negative way that I don't know if I can like do it without screaming, I'm different, I promise. So that would be great if you guys had any input on that, because they're on the fence about it. I have a meeting with them later this week to even want to host an event next year, which is the Kickstart country stuff that I wanted to do with you. So I'm trying to tell them, I promise I'm not by myself. It's not just little old me. We know how to run events. People won't leave. So that'd be great if y'all had any
Yeah.
advice about that.
So I haven't ran an event. But I have had like those experiences where I had to, I guess, you know, make up for like maybe a young Kenzie, thing she decided to do before she was in the country scene, you know? But I would say like business wise, just going on to like the business aspects and first presenting this like as a business, the more like being able to present that like business plan of like X, Y, and Z, and just like this is what I have on the table. There's only so much like we can do when it comes to like us as humans and us as like people, when we have like a certain way that there's not going into like one of the other biggest like things I've learned is like I can't change what people think of me or how they want to think of me, but I can do the best I can to present myself in a way that I would want others to perceive me as. So as long as I maintain like genuine to myself as I'm presenting these things and being able to present it with that, like, here's the business plan, like this is all this I'm ready if you are, you know, and just being genuinely you and how you are now is the best we can do. There's only so much we can make up for. Like we all make mistakes. And it's up to them as businesses to be able to like accept our past mistakes or not. So like as a person that would go up in that situation, I would just come with as much of the information I can to present to them, and as well as like just giving them my authentic self and giving them me, and like being true to how I want to present myself. And you know, and it's up to them in the end. But I would say just continue being authentically you and how you want others to perceive you. And it's my dad like was the biggest person to teach me this lesson. Like as long as you love how you loved, as long as you love how you are, as long as you love like how you're presenting and how you the person you've become, that's like all you really need. So just go in with that like, you know, confidence and that love for like what you're doing and showing your like authentic true self, and have as like much printed out and planned as possible that you can. And if they take, and hopefully I'll keep my fingers crossed for you that they take it.
Thank you. You're amazing. Thank you.
You're amazing too.
Yeah, that was great advice. I love the business plan advice. I think, like Kenzie said, if someone's been burned before, it's a little bit of a harder road because they've likely experienced things that they're not even able to articulate, or did things to the business that was really frustrating. So like having compassion about that, like if someone has got such a hard no or such a hard line because they don't want to be burned again, like the burn was probably pretty bad. And so, like Kenzie said, you continuing to just be yourself, create that positive reputation in other venues, create whatever you can do to just kind of showcase that like that you're trustworthy beyond just telling them, is the long game. It's the long game. It might be long as in a couple months. It might be long as in a couple of years. Honestly, and this is not specifically for you, Jazzy, but just in general, it might be the kind of thing where you're paving the road and the way for someone else to be able to have that opportunity, because sometimes we're the ones who do the work. We help them gain the trust back after being burned. But then when it comes down to it, they may go with someone else who just kind of came in at just the right time and it worked out for what they needed. And know that you had a part in helping bring dance to fruition at this location, or the event to fruition, even if we don't get to be a part of it. That's a lot easier, like for me to say than to actually live that, because that can be painful. But My little advice that I was going to add to what Kenzie said was to just take things one day at a time and giving them a plan. And if let's say that they go along with it and they're like, okay, we're going to give this a chance, like have the expectation of one day, like we're going to have the best one day. And if there's not a second day, that's okay, because we have the best one day. And then if there is another day, cool. And if that turns into a weekend workshop, or if that turns into an event, cool. But being totally and completely satisfied with the one opportunity. Yeah. So that's what I would kind of add to that. Okay. So we've got just a couple minutes. Emily, I saw that you had a question. Go ahead and unmute yourself. We'll ask it, and then we'll close it up with Kenzie here.
It's still kind of on the business standpoint. I know I'm headed in the right direction, but I didn't really want to start teaching until that I got and started teaching and like competing in advanced. And I'm still like, I know KIT is like a good step, but what else do you recommend if I want to get out there and start teaching or doing private lessons, etc., or being mentors, etc.?
That's a good question. I to be able to start like putting that foot in the door, I will, I would definitely go into like the first thing that would come to mind is offering that on social media, that like out to people. Because that's like the widest platform that you can offer. So setting your business plan, creating a like a canvas and this is what I can offer. In like the social media influencer world, they have I can't remember what the web's called, but they have basically like cool, cute business plans. So basically just like a bunch of posts on Instagram put into like a collab, and showing what like we can offer. So promoting that and not being afraid to promote ourselves. I know it like there's this sometimes like, oh, you might hear like, oh, why is that person promoting themselves? They're not a high level dancer. Don't be afraid to, it doesn't matter. Again, your skill level of how you are as a dancer can be completely different than how you are as an instructor. And until like they see how you are as an instructor, don't, and a big social media thing and life thing, like really love yourself and love how you're presenting. And as long as you're happy with what you're doing, that's like really all you need is that self-love and that self-care, and that I'm loving that I want to do this, and I'm going to do this because I love it and I want to do it. So just full sending it and doing it. So promote on social media that you're open and you're free for like private lessons, and either creating like you can create a video of you like dancing, or and then again taking the time and opportunity to take the small ones, like with a group of friends, like, hey, I want to practice teaching, and so you can get like a video of you teaching in front of people as well. Something small to show businesses or show people. Reaching out to you can create like a little dance resume, and reach out to events if you like, with like a nice well out email and like I got this idea from Travis, creating like a dance resume of like your experience of what you've been to, what awards you've won, and how you would love to help, and know that like you're, again, for starting out, so taking any opportunity that you can to grow as an individual and grow in the community. Yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah, great advice.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it. And I appreciate both of you ladies for your time today.
Yeah, thank you for being here. Yeah, Kenzie, I loved everything you said, and I really loved the part about like teaching your friends, because there's that's kind of like, it goes beyond just teaching your friends. You're also getting practice. You're also gathering kind of social proof for yourself, or an assessment in of yourself, like how am I actually doing? Like Kenzie had said earlier, like you you were high level solo dancer, but then when it came to articulating what you were doing, you needed a little bit more, you realized you need to kind of take a step back and start to look at yourself and how did your body move and self-evaluate. So when we do things for free, a lot of times that gives practice and it gets your name out. And that wasn't necessarily implying that teaching your friends had to be free, but I was just saying that it definitely it can go a long way. And then getting the content is good as well. But as someone who has been in this, I haven't been in it that long. I know there's people who've been in it decades longer than me, but recognizing also that doing stuff for free or for very little is also kind of part of it. And what that does for you is it gives you exposure, experience, practice, and it gets you social proof, because the more opportunity you have to get in front of people. So an example of doing something, well, it's not even kind of for free, it's more of a barter, but is like the mentoring. When you guys mentor, you are giving your time and you're able to learn from the instructor. You're able to approach that class from a different angle, from a different perspective. But then you're also but you're also giving of your time. Now, I know that's like in trade, but the more you're willing to give, the more likely you're going to get. It's like, I think that's even like a law of the universe of some sort. So keeping that in mind, and absolutely like create the dance resume, put yourself out there. And the more you put yourself out there and you're building yourself, then you get to, number one, add to your resume, but it also like it whether or not you change a single thing on it, it's going to beef it up, because people are watching you train. They're watching you learn. They're watching you perfect your skills, and you are learning, training, perfecting your skills. So it's really a win-win in that. So when I just talked to someone on the phone today, there's a gig, and it's this girl, it's her big master plan, and she really wants line dancing, does not have a budget for it. I happen to be out of town, but I thought of another person who would be a really good fit. And I was so thankful that this person was just like all on board, even though she knew it wasn't going to be paid, because she's like, I know I'm going to get practice and I'm going to get networking. Like there's so much more. There's a lot more than monetary value that comes from getting experience teaching. So the more experience you have, the better. And so it just creates that social proof. And shout out to everyone in this program for choosing to, invest in yourself and your learning, truly. I love being able to do these calls. I told Kenzie earlier, because I get to learn as well. This is one of my main ways of training, is learning from other pros as well. So this is, you guys are doing such an amazing thing for yourself and for the community. Kenzie, is there anything that you would really hope to share that we didn't get to today before we close out?
Well, as Adia last said, like this is an awesome opportunity, and like applaud yourself for taking like this step into growing yourself as not just like as an instructor, but as a dancer and as just like a person, by taking an opportunity like this, or whatever opportunity you take in the future. I live every day like it's your last, and really take every moment. And you really truly never know what's going to happen next. And even like to this day, when I was looking over some like the thought process, or like thinking about my dance career, I'm still kind of like in shock that this is the path that I have been given, and that has been paved for me. And I'm continuously like thankful. Keep doing everything you guys are doing. You're already taking like, again, that step you have to do to like be here and be present, and grow, and not just for yourselves, but now like for this awesome community that we're all a part of, and as it's continuing to grow and take its steps as us as like this awesome country community that we are. And as a big thing I want to say is like, this is my home, and this is like my community, and forever I'll be here. Again, I'm here for you as a mentor, a coach, or a best friend. So whatever you need me as, I'm here for y'all. So thank you again so much for having me, and I really, really appreciate it. Yes, I've come into the West Coast swing community, but I still think of both of those as my homes now. I don't plan on leaving either one. So like, please, if you need me or there's anything I can do, I'll respond with you to you within 2 to 5 business days. Y'all are doing amazing things. Just keep doing what you need to do. Yeah, keep doing you.
Kenzie, also super quick, I did reach out to you because I try to have like Adia and like a couple other instructors do like dance audits and give back some feedback, so I have stuff to go into my private lessons when I go to Stacy and Hugo. So if you don't mind, I think I texted your number and then I can add you to a shirt album.
Okay, sounds good.
All right. Thank you
Yeah.
guys so much for everything.
Yeah,
Thank you
you're
for the
welcome.
call. I learned a lot. I appreciate it.
Yay.
course.
Kenzie, where can we find you? So social media, events, teaching, where if someone's wanting to get a hold of you, where can they find you?
Yes. So you can find me via Instagram at Kenzie Keister. And TikTok is probably not I would say the first place to reach out, but I'm on TikTok as Kenzie Keister as well. I'm also on YouTube as Kenzie Keister. And then I'm on Facebook as Mackenzie Keister, as the official name. So any of my names, if you type in Keister and some type of NZ, I would probably pop up, hopefully. So you can reach out to me on any of the social platforms. I will be posting my updated schedule coming soon on my Instagram, but upcoming in June, I will be in Florida for 3 weeks.
Wow.
So yeah, we're taking a little trip. And I do plan on attending Shoreline, so I'm super excited. I'll be there. So if you are going to be in Florida for the last 3 weeks of June, or like this week of June, I'll be there. And then I'll be in Phoenix for most of July as well. So those are like the main locations I'll be at for the next upcoming events. West Coast swing wise, it's going to be Liberty at the end of July or end of June, and then Phoenix 4th of July at the beginning of July. But yeah, I hope to see y'all very soon. And again, thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, nice. And like you mentioned, on Instagram, you typically post like at the beginning of the month or something like that, where you're going to be all throughout the month. So if you're
Yeah,
looking for where to find her, that's a good place to look.
it'll be pinned at my first thing. The first pin that if you go to my Instagram, it's right there. It just has an overall view of where I'll be for that specific month. So yeah, you'll see my June one soon.
Yay. All right. Thank you so much, Kenzie.
Thank you.